Bienvenue au PREGAMING avec Bordzy. What the hell did I just say? Hello and welcome to PREGAMING with Bordzy, as we are bilingual this afternoon. Technically, this is an early one today. A little bit early to be pre-gaming on a Monday, but you know, that's never stopped Bordzy before. Je m'appelle Aaron Bordato. What up, everybody? Hello and welcome to a fresh week of Pre-Gaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giants. You see, we got some folks in the chat here early. Lance Kane, first comment of the day, says, watch David Savard tonight. He is a legit target for us at the deadline. Can play top four, great PK, eats pucks, tons of block shots, 1 year left. Exactly how much cap we will have accrued, not occurred. That was an autocorrect there. Bo's in. If he can come and teach some guys how to defend, that would be great. So Bo's down to hire him as a coach, I guess. McKay and Dry. I love the optimistic energy to start today. Boosh, redemption game, buckets. Who knows? But as he said, I like your optimism. Bob Stauffer agrees with you. Says exactly. Boosh, redemption game. And Rusty, the king of optimism, says simple. Let's go Oilers tonight. As you can see on your screen, I am joined by the one, the only, Zach Laing, writer here at Oilersnation and the co-host of the Daily Fantasy DFS Report. Zach, what do we like for plays today? Because I have lost 2 weeks in a row on my fantasy team, and I know you do daily, but I need someone off the waiver wire, brother. My team's bad.
Yeah, first of all, je m'appelle Zachary. That's about as much French as I get.
Yeah. Comment ça va?
Bien.
Ça va bien.
See,
or ça va très bien.
Listen, grade 6 French class paying off. I never thought that it would. Yeah, Bordzy, interesting game tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. You know, if you're a fantasy player in any season long, there's probably some Oilers guys that you're dropping. You're probably dropping Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, some guys that you were really hoping that could pick it up for you. So interesting game tonight, to say the least, for the Edmonton Oilers. Pretty heavy favorites coming into this one against a not very good Montreal Canadiens team.
Yeah, there's not many ways to put it. Their record doesn't look that great. Some of their underlying numbers not that great, but I need a win just to forget about Saturday and everything happened. As I mentioned, it's an early one today. We're just on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Come over to YouTube, throw down your courtesy like, make sure you are subscribed to the show. Now, some people do say 4 p.m. is too early to pregame. To them, they say, shut it. I don't need to hear that right now. Shout out to our boys at Odd Company. But it's with the Oilers and Avs first meeting of the season at La Centre Belle. My buddy actually built the scoreboard at La Centre Belle, and he said that even in English, that's what they called it. I'm excited to get this one going tonight. But Zach, before we talk hockey, it's a Monday. So unfortunately, we got to talk football just for 1 second. And as the people know here, my boy Zach is a diehard Chicago Bears fan. He's been through it all with that franchise. So I want to know where yesterday ranks in ultimate Chicago Bears heartbreaks. And walk me through your thought process. The Bears lined up for a game-winning field goal against their arch-rival Green Bay Packers, who they haven't beat in 11 straight games now, I believe. Something. I think the Green Bay Packers are counting, in fact. But walk me through what your thought process was right before that kick and your thoughts and feelings afterwards.
Well, listen, first and foremost, I think it should be mentioned that the only way that the Green Bay Packers were actually able to beat Chicago on Sunday was by cheating. They were over top of the long snapper, something they're not able to do. They were. Right. Otherwise, that kick would have been good. Chicago Bears would have won. Caleb Williams marches down the field. What was a big victory for the Chicago Bears. That's the way that I'm choosing to look at this one. Meanwhile, I'm just counting down the days until till Black Monday when Eberflus is fired because he is terrible. It was good. I thought it was a good game. Like, I was happy to see some progress from Caleb Williams. We were talking a little shop earlier about the game. It was nice to see an offensive game plan that was a little bit more suited for what the Chicago Bears are offensively right now, which is a team that has a terrible offensive line. So there were some signs, there were some good things. But getting the coaching staff right might have been a good idea to do before the season started, not 11 games in.
Have you seen these stats that was it Trubisky had Nagy for 1 year, then they fire him?
Yeah.
Justin Fields had whoever for 1 year, then they fire him. Now Caleb Williams is going to have Matt Eberflus for 1 year, and you guessed it, they're definitely going to fire him at the end of the season. Why won't they do it mid-season? It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's one of the weird things about the Chicago Bears. And, the beauty of it is like they say the definition of insanity is like something about like doing the same thing, expecting different results. We all could have foresaw this coming with the Chicago Bears. It happened with Trubisky, like you said. It happened with Justin Fields. And it's going to happen again here with the Eberflus. But you know what?
It is what it is when you're a Bears fan, brother. I see Mackay and Dry. It's a shout out to MF Urlacher, Brian Urlacher,
Yes.
who does he have hair now?
Oh God, no.
Okay,
Oh, actually, maybe
I'm pretty sure. I thought I saw a photo of him.
I think he had like hair implants,
which is very, very weird to do at the end of your age. Lance is in. He says, "I'm here for my boy Bordzy." Also says, "Let's go Raiders." Producer Patrick Puff behind the scenes. You're a Dolphins fan. They got a dub, right?
Yes, they did. We beat the Raiders.
Suck it, Lance. There you go. And the New England Patriots lost their game, so that is in fact a win when you are chasing the first overall selection this season. That's enough football talk, though. I'm sorry, you had to give me a couple minutes. Now we can talk some puck, because it was a rough one on Saturday night, and which is tough was because for the most part in that game, Zach, the Oilers played pretty damn well throughout it. Once again, stop me if you've heard this one before. The Oilers had some back-breaking, crucial mistakes. So obviously it was rough, but all things considered, dude, the Oilers are 3-0-1 in their last 4 games. However, they have blown a third period lead in 3 consecutive games. They blew it against the Islanders. They blew it against the Predators. However, we weren't that upset about it because they found a way to win in overtime. Now, there's so many factors in that Toronto game. It was who you lost to, how you blew it, how the goals were scored, and it hurt, man. And also, let me remind you, November 6th against Vegas, they blew a third period lead in that game as well. It has been 4 of their last 5 games that they have collapsed in that third period. And dude, this is a trend that needs to stop. We've talked about the Oilers last year. So good in third periods. In fact, I would bet the comeback all throughout the season made a fair amount of money, but they have already dropped they lost a total of 4 games last year after leading by 40 minutes. They've already lost 3 in 18 games this season. And I said, it's not just that they're being outplayed in the third period in these games. It is just simply back-breaking crucial errors and mistakes. At the most unfortunate of times, you have Evan Bouchard just deciding to take a nap on the back check. You have your goaltenders unable to make saves. We've seen it in front of the net, not clearing men out there, leaving dudes alone in the slot. Been some infuriating stuff here lately for the Edmonton Oilers. We have won the majority of those games, but it's a trend that needs to stop, Zachary.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, I think, when you sit and you look at the Edmonton Oilers as a whole right now, there's like some good things going on, right? They've won 3 of their last 4 games. Connor McDavid is looking like he is firing on all cylinders. You're starting to see the second line really come into their own. Third line is picking it up a little bit. Defensively, there's still some concerns. There's going to need to be some trades made. Interesting report out of Pittsburgh today. The Oilers might have some interest in defenseman Marcus Pettersson. You can go read about that at Oilersnation.com.
The man Darnell beat the wheels off this season.
That's right. I think he could be a really interesting addition. The Oilers are just kind of trying to wade through it all right now, right? I mean, I don't think anybody really expected this kind of a start to the season for the Edmonton Oilers. That being said, this is a team that we've seen for a number of years now not really get off to the best starts in the season, right? Like it kind of seems to take them a month to kind of get the wheels turning. And once they do, watch out. And I think the thing that's really promising about what we're seeing right now too is like the power play starting to click. 3 goals in the last 4 games. Penalty kill is starting to click. Only 1 penalty kill goal against, or 1 power play goal against, I should say, in those 4 games as well. So those are some signs of like starting to turn the tide a little bit here. So, I don't think it's like anywhere near panic mode or panic season or anything like that. I think there was, more than enough time to panic earlier in this year. And the others are kind of showing they can right this ship. And I expect that to kind of continue here. Tonight is a great night for them to kind of go out and just beat the wheels off of somebody.
Get right spot.
Right, a great get-right spot. I think this is a spot where the Oilers need to go out and have a huge performance tonight, a big, big victory, score a whole bunch of goals, get everybody feeling good, get Jeff Skinner off the 4th line. We'll talk about that today too. But yeah, it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, well, there's lots of positives to PK. up to 66% on the season, tied for dead last in the NHL right now with the Detroit Red Wings, and the Anaheim Ducks are only 0.7% above both of us. Who knows, brother, could be out of that basement, but we're going to need a good performance tonight. Montreal don't score a ton, but their power play is top 10, and they are legit right now. But you mentioned it. I'm not panicked. You watched Oilers Nation every day today. You saw Tyler and Liam were not panicked, but Saturday night, that sucked. That left a bad taste in my mouth. The chat on Saturday was super spicy. Pat, we had our first ever guy dropping his location, offering to fight people in the chat, which was all-time loser stuff. But hey, we appreciate you watching and throwing down your like. There are several storylines coming out of Saturday night. Not many of them very positive. Evan Bouchard has just decided to stop skating on all breakaway opportunities against. Stuart Skinner really looked like he couldn't make a save when you needed him to. And Darnell Nurse got absolutely blown up by one Ryan Reeves. It was a dirty hit through and through. We had guys in the chat arguing it. I still get the Leafs Nation Facebook messages from when I produced their show for over a year. My God, some of the opinions coming in there of blaming Darnell Nurse for his head down. Well, I agree. You need to keep your head up. That does not change that the principal point of contact was his head, which then wrapped halfway around his own body and went like a cartoon spinning head around. I digress, but it was hard to watch Darnell Nurse take that hit. As clearly looked concussed. He was bleeding from, I didn't even know where. I thought he was bleeding from his eyeball at one point. He tried to get up and falling over. It was tough to see. And you know what? We all have chirped Darnell Nurse. We've all mentioned the contract before, but this sucked because he's been playing very good this season, this month specifically. He's finding that chemistry with Kulak, seeing an uptick in minutes. But that hit, dude, that was a dirty hit from a dirty player who has dirty tendencies, who has done it before. What was this, his fourth suspension in his career? I do believe 5 games came down from the NHL, which I love that the joke online is the real punishment will be making Ryan Reeves play 15, 20 minutes for 5 straight nights, or he should be out for as long as Darnell Nurse is. Nobby today did say he'll be out 5 to 10 days, which, dude, I'm taking that as positive news because the way he looked after that hit, I didn't know when we would be seeing him next. I want to ask you, Zachary, thoughts on the hit? What did you think of the suspension, fair or foul?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, the hit was ugly, right? That's exactly what the league is trying to get out. I think the 5-game suspension was more than fair, although I do agree that, you know, the proper punishment should have been just playing Ryan Reeves 15 minutes a night, right? I think that would be kind of hilarious. But, you know, the truth of the matter is like that was a really...
Set your fantasy lineups, everybody. 4:45 before 5 p.m. Set your fantasy lineups.
Good stuff, Bordzy. Good stuff. Yeah, it was a really ugly hit, right? And I think there was a lot of people who are saying, well, you got to keep your head up. You got to keep your head up. Like, he had his head up. He was going to pass up the ice when that hit happened, right? Like right here, look, boom. That's like he's got his head up, right? So I don't necessarily agree with those takes. It was really ugly to see, man. And there was a lot of people too who were like, oh, why isn't somebody coming to fight Ryan Reeves? First and foremost, it's fucking Ryan Reeves.
I'm good on that.
There's a lot of
the only guy who's going to fight him is down on the ice.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like willing to take a fight with Reeves. And the other thing too, and like I think I can speak for a lot of people, like I was kind of in a state of shock when I saw that. I was like, wait a second, like did that just really happen? And seeing Nurse down on the ice like that was a really, really ugly scene, right? So tough to see, very tough to see. You could hear it in the players' voices after the game. Adam Henrique, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you could hear the shock in their voice, right? And I think, you know, the player safety department came out and talked about the suspension and why they laid 5 games. And they kind of talked about the fact that Ryan Reeves, like that hit is completely on him, right? He is in a position where he can make the body the principal point of contact and lay as devastating of a hit on Darnell Nurse and it'd be legal. That's the thing, right? He made the choice to target the head the way that he did there. I think the 5-game punishment is pretty fair. This is somebody who is a repeat offender. 3 suspensions in his past, 2 fines. Now the Oilers have to try and figure out how to manage without Darnell Nurse, who was playing some really good hockey these last number of games for the Oilers.
Yeah, it's terrible timing for that injury because he has been cooking as of late. Southpaw said Nurse does look up right before the trapezoid. And that's the thing, right? If Ryan Reaves connects first point of contact is the chest, that is clean as shit. Darnell, you pick yourself back up off the ice and you get back there. There's no conversation about this. But the principal point of contact was the head. And dude, even like his head didn't bounce off the ice, but I thought it was going to. Like you said, I was shook. We were sitting here with Coombsy and Pat, and it was silence in this office. You never want to see that. Lance said, my dad also said he should keep his head up. I said, that's why you are in a home, old man. Elder abuse has been the theme of this past weekend. Mike Tyson and one Stipe Miocic. But obviously, Darnell Nurse not going to play this evening. 5 to 10 days. He's out. There was reports he was joking around in the locker room and was in good spirits. Somebody in the chat also mentioned that Ryan Reaves did come reportedly to the Oilers locker room for a face-to-face apology. And that's the thing about the hit too, Zach, as you saw when Ryan Reaves doesn't even argue, just skates right to the box and then skates off. He looked like he felt guilty. And he went, oh my God, I felt his head on my shoulder. But this is terrible timing for this injury. Now, it's nice. You've got the Montreal Canadiens tonight and the Ottawa Senators, but you're in the midst of a 3-game Eastern road swing. You're already dealing with an injury to Victor Arvidsson, who won't play again tonight. More on that later. Oil will continue to go 11-7. Shout out. We called up one Josh Brown, but it happened to the guy in Darnell. Like you said, he's been playing hot lately, over 20 minutes every single night, playing with one Brett Kulak, playing PK, playing power play. This is a huge, huge loss for the Edmonton Oilers, and they have recalled our boy Josh Brown, 3-year deal, Josh Brown. So you better get comfortable with this team tonight. And I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous about the back end because when you look at that, doesn't necessarily look like a Stanley Cup contending back end. You're going to have to ask a lot more of Brett Kulak and specifically Ty Emerson. He enters your top 4 tonight. Stetcher, Dermott, Brown, I'm sure they'll all be playing lesser amounts of ice. I'm curious what it will be, but the Oilers defense, little questionable before the injury, Zachary, and right now I'm a little bit nervous. Your thoughts and feelings tonight going into it, and what the hell are we going to see on the back end this evening?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it kind of remains to be seen, right? I mean, I think, Brett Kulak has really stepped up. Your boy, I thought he's been great so far.
He's going to be playing a lot tonight, I think.
Playing a lot. Ty Emerson, he's probably going to be playing a lot more. I think Emerson's really kind of starting to feel himself a little bit, feeling a little more comfortable here in Edmonton. Troy Stetcher, I've liked his game so far this year. Travis Dermott, a little bit of a mixed bag, right? It's probably a little tough for him too, being, the 7th defenseman now, kind of coming in and out of the lineup. But as Chris Knobloch said, it was kind of a good thing that they were running 11-7 on Saturday because they were able to just have Dermott slide in and continue playing. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I think, again, this is a nice spot for the Edmonton Oilers here because, this Montreal Canadiens team is just really not generating a whole lot of offense. Their 4 lines that they're running here tonight really are not doing a whole lot. Their top line is probably their most lethal in terms of generating offense. The Oilers are going to have to watch on the PK because the Habs have a fairly decent power play so far this season, 14th best in the NHL right now. One of the better power play matchups of the night here tonight. So that's going to be a place to watch for the Edmonton Oilers here. The good news, again, their PK seems to be turning a little bit of a corner here. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. We'll kind of see what happens, I guess. It
does when you look at the Habs stats this season. It's Suzuki, it's Caulfield, and then it's everybody else, the way that has gone. But you see their numbers there. The Oilers do have some yellow as we allow 0.7 less goals against per game. Let's go. A little bit more on the Montreal stats later on. But I kind of want to – we'll talk about them right now and again a little bit later on. But the Oilers wingers, they need more from them, and that includes – pretty much every single player out there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman included, Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, you name it right now. Vasily Podkolzin still doesn't have a goal this season, regardless of how you think he's been playing. Nuge is 8th in team scoring with 1 goal and 7 assists in 18 games played. 8 points in 18 games so far. Jeff Skinner, he's been demoted to the doghouse on the 4th line, just in there with Derek Ryan by themselves. He only has 6 points in 18 games. Zach Hyman, only 3 goals, Vasily Podkolzin, 0 goals. And while Adam Henrique did score Saturday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs, that was only his 2nd goal of the entire season. So I know all the focus has been on Jeff Skinner lately, but before we talk about him, this other production in the Oilers lineup, like Nuge is still up there, maybe not doing a ton offensively. He's kind of in that spot based off reputation and name right now and things he has done before. I think maybe that same logic could be applied to one Jeff Skinner this evening, where it's a grander conversation. You have an injury in your top 6 to Victor Arvidsson, and you go, we have another struggling scoring winger who's trying to find consistency. Feels like the perfect spot for me, Zach, to put him in. I don't know, where do you come out on this debate, and Jeff Skinner specifically?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that's kind of going on right now, because
that's a word for it.
Who is Jeff Skinner, right? He's a 30-plus-year-old veteran winger who's been in the game for a long time. And what is his profile as a player? Somebody who doesn't play a lot of defense, somebody who cheats a little bit for offense, and somebody who has been one of the most consistent goal scorers in the NHL for the last decade. So what do you do when he's struggling? Well, you put him on the 4th line with Derek Ryan. Like, that makes a lot of sense, right? I don't think it does. Listen, this is a guy who's still kind of trying to find his way here in Edmonton. I think he's deserving of better line mates than Derek Ryan. I understand the defensive concerns. I get it. You have to play a 200-foot game in the NHL and all those tropes that you think about when you think of playing in the NHL, right? But the Oilers need to put him in a position to succeed. And I just don't think that the 4th line is the spot to do it. I've been wanting to see him get more consistent minutes with Henrique and Brown on the 3rd line. I think Henrique and Brown have been creating chances. They just haven't been able to quite finish on them. Having Jeff Skinner on that line gives them a finisher, gives them a scorer, somebody who can put the puck in the net in those situations. I was looking at some numbers here earlier today. In 10 games, Jeff Skinner, so there's been 10 games this year where he's played 14 minutes or more. In those games, he's got 2 goals, 2 assists, and 30 shots on goal in those games. If you extrapolate those shot totals over an 82-game season based off of his, shooting percentage from the last 3 years, you got a 30-goal scorer right there. 14 minutes a night isn't a whole lot.
Could use that on the wing right now.
You could use that on the wing right now, right? You could use that on your 3rd line. They're going to be playing 12 to 15 minutes a night. It just feels like, the 4th line is not the spot. He's clearly in the doghouse right now, right? The other side of this too is that, like, the Oilers are running 11-7. Okay. So, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, those are the guys that are going to be rotating in on that 4th line. So I guess in a sense, you are getting him a bit better of a line.
But it's in spurts, right? There's no consistency with it. It's coming too much, one here, one there, one over there. And to a guy that's struggling, that's not going to fix the problem to me.
No, absolutely. And, the other thing too is, like, you got Derek Ryan in the middle of the ice. It's like, not exactly a guy who's known for his goal scoring prowess or offensive chops at this stage of his career right now. So it's a bit of a weird situation. We'll see what happens with Skinner here. It's an important storyline to follow. I mean, the Oilers signed this guy to a $3 million contract, and they, in my opinion, need to get him in a better spot.
RX Plus. Jeff Skinner has 200% more goals than Pods. Pods is the 4th liner, and if you bring Skinner in, he has to be top 9 at least, or just throw him on the wing with Pods, who's looked okay at some of these spots. Southpaw, hard to build chemistry on short shifts with those guys, and this whole situation confused me. Let me preface it with, in Nobby we trust, hashtag always. But I understand the demotion because of his defensive play and his turnovers, right? But he has been around it offensively when he's been out there on the ice, and it's no secret he's fighting it. I'm sure it's in his head, and then you get those shorter shifts, less ice time. You're trying to do more with less. Never been a good strategy before, and he might be gripping his stick. I don't know. Just see what you think about it. But the fact that Nuge, Hyman, Paz, these guys aren't producing, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, but Jeff Skinner is being held to this standard, it's very confusing to me. And you just made that point. If you want this guy to play well, he's on your team getting paid, $3 million this season. Sure, there's been deadline talk from the fans saying we'll ship him out. I don't think Stan Bowman is having that conversation right now. So he's on your squad. You got to get him going. Derek Ryan is not that answer. It's not going to happen. And with having Victor Arvidsson out, maybe you thought for one game, okay, keep Skinner down there. It's just one game. Arvidsson will be right back. Well, it's been 3 games right now, and this could have been 3 games for Jeff Skinner to try and get his mojo back. I digress. We will see how that goes later on tonight. Let's talk a little need-to-know information, courtesy of our friends from Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because only the finest tasting meat products earn that Will Hawk name, made from 100% pure Alberta beef. Their jerky is aged, seasoned, marinated, and smoked to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size. Find their jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc location. And for more info, go to willhawkbeefjerky.com. So the Edmonton Oilers, they've blown third period leads in their past 3 games, but they are 9-7-2. As I said, 3-0-1 in their last 4 games. They have performed well at Le Centre Bell in their last 10 visits, posting a 6-2-2 record in Montreal. Their most recent meeting last season was a 2-1 overtime win, where Stuart Skinner allowed 1 goal and Evan Bouchard scored the overtime winner. That would be sweet tonight. That would be nice, because Bouchard, it's been bad defensively and hasn't even been great offensively. A little bit later, Oilers going 11-7. No Darnell Nurse tonight. Josh Brown is up, and no Victor Arvidsson for the 3rd straight game with an undisclosed injury. Zach, it was a little weird to me because on Thursday, Nobby said he's not going to play tonight, but I expect him to play Saturday. And then on Saturday said, okay, he's not going, but he was taking line rushes in the morning skate, fully thinking, okay, he's going to be ready for Monday. And then today, still no Victor Arvidsson. Do we have any news? Or are they still just saying undisclosed?
Yeah, just undisclosed. It's quiet. Maybe he's battling a little illness or a bug or something like that, or a little shaken up somewhere. I don't think there was anything from the last number of games that really stood out.
No, I didn't see him get blown up at all. He's always falling, but
there was I'm gonna have to look this up before I go into detail about this, but I think there was a moment a couple of games ago where he got hit into the boards awkwardly. He took his ribs into the boards, but I thought that was the Vegas game, which was a little bit ago now. So who knows? Anyways, just speculating or trying to think out loud here, which is never a good thing. I'm sure you can all see the smoke coming out of my ears and your ears turning right now, something like that, right? But yeah, no, hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. It would have been great to have him back here tonight, but you know what? C'est la vie, as they say.
Oh, how many French Robertsons can we get? And as I've mentioned, Arvidsson's one of the few wingers that has produced this season, so I'd like him back in the lineup. Calvin Pickard, he's going to get the start this evening. He has faced Montreal 6 times in his career. He only has 2 wins, but a .907 save percentage, 2.76 goals against average, and 1 time pitched a shutout for the Colorado Avalanche, so he can do this against the Habs. For the Canadiens, on their side of the need-to-know information, top start for them this season, dead last in their division with a 6-10-2 record. They started the year hot, 2-1, hot per se, 2-1 wins over Toronto and Ottawa. But since, they've had some crazy losing streaks. They've lost 4 games in a row. They then lost 6 games in a row, but they did beat the Blue Jackets on Saturday night by a score of 5-1. Now, despite their struggles, Montreal is averaging more goals per game than the Edmonton Oilers. They boast a way better special teams. Power play, 22.2%. Their PK, 13th at 81%. However, defense tends to be the issue with this team right now. They average 3.89 goals against per game, 2nd worst in the NHL, only behind the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nick Suzuki, he's the captain. He's the centerman. He's the jack of all trades on this team, leadership through and through. Has he learned French by now, I would assume? Don't you have to?
You'd think so.
If you're the captain? Curious. Somebody in the chat, let me know that. But Suzuki has got 18 points in 18 games. Cole Caulfield, 2nd on the team in points, tied for 2nd in the NHL in goals with 12. But Caulfield started red hot. He had 10 goals in 11 games, but only has 2 in his last 7. I'd also prefer not to wake a guy like that up this evening, so let's not even talk about it. Then Sam Montembeault, he's going to get the start we do expect this evening. Him and Caden Primo, they've allowed 49 goals at 5-on-5, tied with the St. Louis Blues for the worst goaltending duo at 5v5. Montembeault, he's played every single game in November so far. His stats include a .905 save percentage in all situations, but 921 5v5. We'll talk about Montembeault later, and is he Team Canada worthy? I hate going through the Four Nations goalie rosters because then you look at Team USA and you're just like, wow, we don't even have half of one of those dudes out there, but we'll deal with that when we get to February. Let's talk now our Sherwood Ford Giant storyline, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giants, the presenting sponsor of Pre-Gaming with Bordzy. Tired of dealership hassles? Well, Sherwood Ford and Sherwood Park is all about convenience and upfront pricing with their Giant Deal program. Get clear, no-nonsense pricing on new and used Fords online with all incentives included. Plus, you can enjoy the ease of mobile service, free pickup and delivery, and same-day or next-day service appointments. Go get your winter tires changed over. I want to make eye contact with everyone in the chat. There is snow outside, and if you have not done it yet, we're past Halloween. We're going to get a dump of snow any day now. It always happens. Zach, do you have your winter tires on?
I never take them off.
Well, all seasons?
Nope.
Or just keep them always on?
Keep them on. Don't do a lot of driving in the summertime. So what the hell do you need to buy another set of tires for?
Somebody in the chat, let me know if that's a good decision or a bad decision. I don't know. Either way, Zach gonna do what Zach gonna do. My Sherwood Ford Giant storyline this evening, and throw it in the chat if you got one, Zach. I'll throw to you as well. Mine tonight, it's all about defense, 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 right? We got some new guys coming in. You're missing Darnell Nurse, and even going 11-7, we've seen with Darnell and Kulak. The top four playing a ton of minutes, all 20 plus. Well, Darnell is now out of there, and Ty Emerson's going to have to shoulder that load, theoretically. And, of course, your Stetcher Browns, Dermott's. But it's been a little up and down right now. At home, I'm always going to be confident. Brett Kulak, you know I am always going to be confident. My confidence in Evan Bouchard's a little bit shattered right now, but I do believe in the guy. He just can't seem to stay awake in third periods. Maybe that's an old man thing. I know a lot of old guys out there fall asleep during the third period as well. Ty Emerson, while improved, I get nervous, right? The thing with him for me, he seems a little scared of contact in front of the net and clearing big guys in the blue paint. He sometimes just stands next to them and like makes it look like he's trying to do anything, but actually doesn't get any results. And obviously, Josh Brown, I do not know what to expect. Wasn't so good in the preseason, but as you just indicated right there, I could see him dropping the gloves this evening. The Oilers undefeated when they drop the gloves this season. So before your storyline, is Josh Brown going to fight Arbor Jacka?
Well, that's the name that I threw to you earlier, right? I'm just trying to pull up the hockey fights page here for the Habs this season to see where their scrappers have been. Mike Matheson a fight, Josh Anderson a fight, Jaden Struble a fight, and Arbor Jacki a fight. I don't know if Jacki is going to take any more fights with the Edmonton Oilers because last year he fought Vinny Desharnais and had his shoulder ripped clean out of its socket. So I'm not sure if he would want to do that. But yeah, Josh Brown, interesting to say the least, I guess. I mean, I think
that's the word of the day today. Like, I don't know. I want to be positive.
Like, who else? Like, there's nobody else that you're really going to recall at this point in time, right? Like, I think he went down to Bakersfield.
He's a vet for a reason.
He went down to Bakersfield as like the quote unquote next man up, right? You know, he's a tough guy. I wrote an article about his recall. He had a fight Saturday night against the San Diego Gulls in the American League. He beat the wheels off of a guy. Go to hockeyfights.com and look that one up if you haven't seen it, because my God, he kind of caught a Gulls player with a little bit of interference in the neutral zone, got challenged immediately, and Brown just fed this guy his lunch. So you got that element, right, which is something that the Oilers haven't really had in their lineup.
If we're losing Darnell, we're going to need it.
Right? How much is he going to play, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, I think, you know, the other game the first game they ran 11-7 last week, I think like Dermott played like 5 minutes. I'm thinking that's what it's going to be for Josh Brown tonight. I don't really have been much expectations or anything like that. He's been probably one of the worst defensemen in the NHL for the last number of years, which, again, not to rehash it as it's been so many times, but like, why do you sign him for 3 years on the first day of free agency?
Who was in that line to try and sign him for 3 years?
Like,
who was offering 2?
Who? I don't know. What can you do, right? So
prove me wrong, Josh.
Yeah, prove me wrong, right? Who knows? Maybe at 30 years old, he all of a sudden becomes, the best defenseman that he's ever been in his career. I'm not expecting it, but you know what? He's going to be there in the lineup. Let's see what he can do.
Number one fan says Josh Brown broke the speed record for snails on ice. Oof, that's tough. Let him at least get a game in an Oilers jersey. Nah, I'm kidding. Chirps are always welcome. Southpaw's in. He beat the snow tires off of him. Nice. Sherwood Ford, shout out. Ryan Smith's nose just jumped in the chat. What's the update on Egghead Nurse? Why'd you throw that part in there? But he's going to be out for 5 to 10 days. My storyline, though, it's defend, defend, defend. Do you have anyone? I saw somebody else in here. They said that the biggest issue right now, RX Plus, is the tendency for this team to play down to their opponent, need killer instinct, and make goaltending not to be an issue, regardless of what our goalie does. The Oilers do sometimes in the history of this team tend to play down. Do you expect that tonight?
It's obviously a concern, right? I mean, I think Montreal feels like a team that the Oilers have done that with in the past. I think they've kind of gotten away from that a little bit here, like, in the last couple of seasons. It's always a concern. And I think what's important to remember too, like when we think about hockey, like it's really easy to sit here in a vacuum and look at just the Edmonton Oilers playing down to like other teams. It happens to the best teams in the league, right? Like there's still going to be games where, a great team has a bad outing. So I don't think that's going to be the case here tonight because of what we see in these last number of games where the Oilers have really kind of been keeping the pedal to the metal. And I think they need to keep doing that up here.
Let's take a look now at the Edmonton Oilers projected lineup this evening. Throw it up for me, Patrick. Producer Patrick Puff doing great stuff behind the scenes right now. Top line going to be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Second line, Vasily Podkolzin with Leon and Corey Perry. Then it's Brown Mark featuring Rico. Matthias Janmark with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. Jeff Skinner with Derek Ryan. No, Troy Stetcher is not playing forward. It's just how Daily Faceoff does this. He will be the 7th defenseman, technically, according to the depth chart. We'll see what happens. Who knows? It's Ekholm with Bush, Kulak with Emerson, and Travis Dermott with Josh Brown. Go back to forward pairings there, or the forward lines there, because Victor Arvidsson remains out again tonight, which I said is weird considering the things that Nobby has said about this. He's going to miss his 3rd straight game. And Zach, when he was on that line, him and Draisaitl just have this super weird and awesome European connection going on. And we've seen it. Leon Draisaitl can be a tough player to play with. He's got a lot of skill. He's got those no-look backhand passes. You got to be ready for him. But Victor Arvidsson has been ready for them so far this season. Now, he's been out of the lineup the last couple of games, and I think I've seen a little bit of a downturn in that second line, just not gelling as well together. Corey Perry, I love the man. He still can play in spurts in that top 6. He has the hockey IQ, has the abilities, but I do feel that this team is missing Victor Arvidsson right now. I said, look at all the wingers on this team right now and add up all their production. It is not very good. The Leon Podzilla line just hasn't looked the same right now. I need Arvidsson to get back in this line, and if it's not going to be him, it could be our boy Jeff Skinner. But not surprisingly, this team looks like they have missed Victor Arvidsson substantially.
Yeah, I think they've missed him for sure. I mean, I'm fine with Corey Perry sliding up into the top 6. He's got some familiarity with Leon Draisaitl from last season. Yeah, okay, he's not Corey Perry in his prime. He's 39 years old right now. He's still finding a way to chip in some offense. He's got 3 goals in 18 games. And I understand you may sit there and be like, oh, that's not really a whole lot. But, that projects for like 13, 14 goals over the course of an 82
with the minutes season. He's playing. That's pretty good. Minutes
he's playing. Like, you can't really argue with that kind of a production that you're getting from Corey Perry. So I thought he's looked fine up there. I've still liked Podkolzin's game. Would like to see a little bit more offense from him. I'd like to see him shoot the puck a little bit more, try and get in the mix a little bit that way. I think, that's the reason why you're kind of missing Arvidsson on that line, because he kind of is a bit of a trigger man, so to speak, right? He's a guy who can shoot the puck really well. So I'm fine with the lineup more or less as it is right now. Obviously, again, as I spoke about earlier, would love to see Jeff Skinner elevated up the lineup a little bit more from the 4th line. But you know what? Like, these lines have done fairly well this year. Like, the 3rd line, Rico, Brown, Janmark, they've played really strong shutdown hockey. Like, they're really, really choking out opposing offenses, which is great to see. They've turned into a shutdown line for the Edmonton Oilers. And, my biggest concern when the Oilers traded Ryan McLeod over the summer was, like, that's what McLeod was really, really good at for the Oilers. He was a very good shutdown center.
We joked about the cardio line, but he was skating around with the puck, not getting scored on, which hindsight could have used.
Exactly, right? Like, that was one of the best things about his game. So it's been nice to see Henrique be able to step in in this third line role and get some looks in that spot and do a good job of suppressing opposing teams' offense. So I think that's probably what we'll continue to see here tonight. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the matchups, probably a lot of top six against top six here. So who knows? Maybe this third line could come in and chip in with a goal tonight.
You mentioned Jeff Skinner there. I am looking for the get-right game, for the turnaround game for Jeff Skinner. It is tonight. A lot of people were predicting it on Saturday. That was not a matchup that I think Jeff Skinner was going to find. It's tonight. Maybe you find a way to get an early lead, and he will get more minutes, but he needs to find that production, and it could be tonight because did you know that Jeff Skinner owns the Montreal Canadiens? He has, in his last 9 games at La Centre Belle, 9 goals and 20 points. Sometimes you just feel good in a building. I believe in his career against these Canadiens, he's got 47 points in 42 games. So I like Jeff Skinner tonight. I believe, and hopefully he can get some minutes. One guy, I believe, has been a little bit shook in lately. Still do believe in the guy, but confidence is wavering, is one Evan Bouchard. We've gone 40 minutes without ripping into him. So here we go. He had a rough Saturday night, a stunningly bad pass that bounced off Connor McDavid with 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, arguably 4 1,000s behind the net without being untouched. And then a back-checking speed on the Bobby McMahon goal that rivaled my grandmother. Actually, no, because my grandmother would keep her feet moving at least to try and make that effort. And I understand, right? We all want to pile on. I just did, chirping him with my grandmother. People Saturday night were screaming for a benching. Liam had a good rant about it today. I could understand maybe a couple shifts. People talking about sitting Bouchard in the press box. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Do not hold your breath. It's not going to happen. Bouch, he's an integral part to this team. He plays insane minutes. He played 25 plus Saturday against Toronto. He quarterbacks the power play. He's pair number 1 with Matthias Ekholm. And his game, we know you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I say it all the time. But the problem right now, Zachary, you haven't been getting a ton of offensive production from one Evan Bouchard. I would say shots looking a little bit better on the power play, finding those lanes a little bit better. Now, that could be because he was just brutal to start the season with that. But he only has 3 points in his last 7 games. Those 3 points all came in one game against the Vancouver Canucks. I think it's fair to say Bouch ain't going to hit the 82-point mark this season. Still would love to if that could be possible. I'm not ready to write off Evan Bouchard. It is totally frustrating, but he's going to be back out there again tonight playing 20-plus minutes. And whether you like it or not, we need Evan Bouchard.
Yeah. Listen, Evan Bouchard is an offensive defenseman. His strengths as a hockey player is generating offense. I understand that sending him pass up the middle of the ice may not be an ideal situation at that point in the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he's done that before with great success. Connor McDavid was in the way. Maybe he should have waited an extra second. Yes, I do agree with that, right? But if he sees a lane, he's going to take it.
I want Bouch to trust his instincts.
Absolutely.
They're good instincts.
So does the coaching staff, right? Like, what have we heard the Oilers defenseman talking about for the last calendar year here? Paul Coffey wants the Oilers defenseman to feel confident in making plays, jumping into the play offensively. That is what Evan Bouchard does. When you're an offensive defenseman, you have the puck on your stick a lot more, right? So inherently, because of that, you're going to be prone to making more mistakes than somebody who is a defensive defenseman who doesn't have the puck on their stick a whole lot, right? I get it. Like, I ripped into Bouchard after the game and my day after. It was probably the harshest.
Well, if you stop skating on a breakaway, you're going to get ripped off.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Like that one's bad. That's not a good look there. You got to, at the very least, be putting in the effort to get back on the back check there. And then for him to kind of, like, after the goal is scored, take like a couple of hard strides around. It's like, oh man, that's not a good look, right?
He skated harder to the bench than he did.
Yeah, like we can all agree on that there, right? But again, like, this is a guy who's very talented. He's still a young defenseman. He's still finding his way in the NHL. This is only really his third full season in the NHL. So you're going to have these moments. You're going to have these growing pains. These things are going to happen. The Oilers are going to bench him. That would not be a smart thing to do. Look at any of the other top offensive defensemen in the league. You'll find them all making similar mistakes as the one Bouchard made.
The only thing I say, Maybe sign that extension right now, because I don't think his value will be this low at the end of the season, because we believe in our boy Evan Bouchard. Let's move now to our starting goaltender report, brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Hit the trails this winter and the waves next summer. Zach, as fellow hockey fans, the team at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine are helping Oilers Nation fans gear up. They're home of an ATV for just $50 bi-weekly, or cruise the open water for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Power Sports Marine are hockey fans, helping hockey fans get ready for their next adventure with motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, and boats. Which, if you could get any toy from Sherwood Power Sports Marine, what would it be?
Boy,
I think I'd get a scooter.
Ooh, yeah, I don't mind that. That's a good idea. I think
or the $105 bi-weekly boat, but we got to go halvesies. You want to go halvesies? Let's go halvesies. Pat, you can't come.
Right, Pat.
I'm kidding. Pull it up here, the tail of the tape, the head-to-head comparison between these two goaltenders. Calvin Pickard and Sam Montembeault. Picks 4-2-0, 249 goals against, 890 save percentage. Solid is the word that comes to mind when I think Calvin Pickard. Then Montembeault, 14 games, 5-8-1, 309 goals against, 898 save percentage. So Picks, his last start was against Nashville, where he won, stopping 20 of 22. You think that Leon Draisaitl owns the Predators? Well, this year Calvin Pickard does, because he has 3 straight dubs. The chat was loud on Saturday night, Zachary. I think they wanted Stuart Skinner's head on a stick. It's kind of been the vibe a little bit lately. This is a scheduled start for Calvin Pickard. Stu will get the start tomorrow in Ottawa, second night of a back-to-back. Are you reading anything about people online? They're talking goaltending. Today's Sherwood Ford Giant question was, do the Oilers have a goaltending problem? I'm not ready to say that yet. Not going to lie, Saturday, though, I might have said that, but I wasn't quite there. The moment that comes to mind the most was Stuart Skinner. I'm not blaming him on that final goal. That's Mitch Marner just being a very good player, coming down on a 2-on-1 and sniping. The play on the Bobby McMahon breakaway was weird because it's a tough one. You don't know whether you should go for the puck, and you got to make those clear, decisive calls, and he didn't, and he ends up falling on his back and falling on his ass. Can answer about Calvin Pickard. We like him tonight. I know you're confident in him, but we're using the word controversy yet in Edmonton, because I am not there with Stuart Skinner, but what about you?
No, I'm not there with Skinner at all. I mean, I think, listen, like if you look across the league right now, like goaltending is not a strength of a lot of NHL teams right now. You take a look at the save percentage numbers. There's a lot of goaltenders who are very good goalies who do not have very good save percentages. You know, the league average rate right now is floating around the 900 mark. So, you know, yeah, okay, I get it. 877, 13% points below 900. It's not great to see, but like, again, there's a lot of other goalies in the league that are struggling. Is Stuart Skinner struggling more than other goalies? Yeah, I think you could probably make that argument. I think that's a fair thing to kind of say and assess at this point. He needs to be better for the Edmonton Oilers. I think that just is a simple matter of fact thing. You know, you even think about, again, just recent game here, the Toronto game, right? If Stuart Skinner makes a save on one of those 2 blunders at the end of the game, the Oilers probably win that game, right? Like, you need your goaltender to make those big saves in those moments. Again, there's games where he does make those big saves, but it feels like more often than not, he's not making those saves in those moments. And I think that's the real killer right now for the Edmonton Oilers, because, I can make do with him not having the best save percentage in the league and stuff like that, right? But I think the matter of fact is that in those big moments, the Oilers need him to step up. And it doesn't feel like he's done that a lot lately.
Doesn't feel like it all. So Brett Holden, other producers in the chat, says, I always say Scooter, WTF. And then go Pats go with the most uncalled for comment of the day. I hope ON get rid of Brett soon. Maybe I'll start watching again. Okay, well, A, fuck you. B, Brett's not even here right now. So what are you even talking about? I guess he's in the chat, but we don't like that. Pat, timeout. Timeout for Go Pats Go.
Bam.
And I love the Patriots, so I love saying Go Pats Go, but that was an unnecessary call to throw in. It's not even 5:30 right now, and we're doing that. Sam Montembeault, Zach gets to start for the Habs. I'm just going to say it straight up. Is he going to make the Four Nations roster for Team Canada? Let's go around the room. Who's going to be the goalies for Team Canada? Chat, also throw them out. I've heard Binnington's name a ton, and I don't believe in that. Montembeault's name, Stuart Skinner, Aiden Hill, Marc-Andre Fleury, I'm still hearing.
Cam Talbot.
Cam Talbot seems like the best one of those names.
Dadbot is I don't know if people have kept up on Dadbot. He is having a great start to the season here with Detroit. 10 games played so far, 927 save percentage, and 7.9 goals saved above expected this year. He's been one of the best goaltenders in the entire NHL. So I could see him making the team. I've seen Connor Ingram in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to make it. Logan Thompson, I think he'll be in the mix. I think Skinner's going to be in the mix. Aiden Hill's going to be in the mix. Binnington's going to be in the mix.
None of those names give me confidence.
Is going to be in the mix. It does feel kind of ugly. It does feel like an ugly group right
now. Yeah. Let's do it quick here. The away lineup brought to you by Greta Bar-Yeg, because Greta is where Oilers Nation loves to party. Pre or post, we'll be there all year for our watch parties throughout the season. Check out their great street food menu, games in the arcade, and weekly drink specials. I say it all the time, but Greta is without a doubt my favorite watering hole in the city. Pull it up now, Pat. There it is. Perfect. The projected roster this evening for the Montreal Canadiens. Uri Slavkovsky with Nick Suzuki and Kirby Dach. On the top line, Alex Newhook with Jake Evans and Cole Caulfield to round out said top six. Josh Anderson, Christian Dvorak, Brandon Gallagher on their third line. Emil Heineman with Lucas Condotta and Yoel Armia round out that fourth line. Deep pairings, Caden Gooley with Mike Matheson, Lane Hudson with David Savard, who Lance Kane said, keep your eyes on, could be a trade target for the Edmonton Oilers. Then Arbor Jacki and one Jaden Struble. So he said, the Canadiens offense, they have some weapons. They're pretty much just in 14, 77, 13, maybe even 20. Not a lot there, but Suzuki, Caulfield having great years. Uri Slavkovsky, I think for me, is my player to watch tonight. Just he has such a huge frame. You're going to have to watch him out there. Former first overall pick. He had 50 points last year, 20 goals, 30 assists. Right now, he only has 1 goal so far this season, so you're going to need to see more from him. 1 goal, 10 assists in 18 games played. Zach, if you had to pick, who's your player to watch there? Is it as simple as Cole Caulfield?
Yeah, I think it is for me. I'm just trying to pull up his stat page really quickly here. 12 goals in 18 games played, 15 points on the season. He's their most offensively gifted forward that they have in the lineup. The line mates are pretty ugly. It's pretty rough for him there right now, playing on that second line alongside Alex Newhook and Jake Evans. Montreal recently mixed up their lines because he was riding shotgun with Nick Suzuki and Slavkovsky for a while, and they were actually that was generating a pretty fair amount of offense, bumped him down to the second line, and that second line as a whole is really not doing a whole lot right now. That being said, the Oilers' penalty kill is not great. Cole Caulfield plays on the power play. Another player to watch for me, Mike Matheson, probably going to play a million bajillion minutes.
I think he's third on the team in points.
Yeah, he's been a very good player, having a great start to the season for them. So I think those are my two guys, Caulfield and Matheson.
And watch how Lane Hudson skates all over the ice.
Yes.
Because it's cool to watch him skate, but that's kind of all he's really done so far. But he's a young player in the NHL. Some numbers for the Habs. They rank 32nd in the NHL in shots per game and 25th in shots against. They don't shoot a lot. They love to get shot on. Shot props kind of night, which leads me to Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Pre-Gaming with Bordzy. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today and use the code NATION. Zach, what does that spell?
Nation.
All capitals, though. Make sure it's all capitals. Your first option today, number 14, Ekholm, to get over 2.5 shots on goal. So, I expect Ekholm to be playing a ton this evening, as there is no Darnell Nurse tonight. He played over 25 minutes on Saturday. He has 3+ in 8 games so far this season, and only 4 teams that I mentioned allow more shots than the Montreal Canadiens. I expect Ekholm to be ripping the puck through and through. Second option, Oil money line and 97 2+ points. The Oil 6-2-2 in their last 10 at Le Centre Bell, and McD Dude, he is so back right now. He is red hot. He has 11 points in his last 4 games. Throw a shot prop in there for Connor if you want as well. He's cashed over 3.5 in 4 straight games. I could have done this all just shot props, but who's that fun for? But do you see the third one there, Zachary? I believe that Skin Dog Jeff will get over 2.5 shots on goal this evening. This is a get-right game through and through. He had 4 shots on goal in one of his last games against Nashville, I believe, on Thursday. We're going 11-7. This is the time to get him up in that top 6. This is a turnaround game. And as I said, fun fact, 47 points in 42 career games against the Montreal Canadiens. I believe, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is tonight, Zach, which of these 3 bets do you like the most? And did you make any wagers? Also reminds me, I have to place these. So talk away.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a couple of minutes left, folks. So go get those bets in. I actually like the Ekholm shot prop here tonight, -105. That's a nice number on that one. Actually, you know what? That line's moved, Bordzy. I was just looking at it on my phone here for 365, +110 now.
Good thing I'm placing my bets now.
Yeah, so that's a really nice line there, plus money. I like that shot prop. How about this one for you? McDavid 1+ power play point, even money, +100 right now. I don't mind that whatsoever. Power play goals in 3 of the last 4. I believe McDavid's been involved on all of them. He's absolutely rolling right now. I like the shot props tonight. I think you could feel confident playing any of those top 6 guys from the Oilers side. Don't mind that Skinner one, +132. Weird number. You don't see a +132 specifically on 365. They tend to round to the 5s pretty often. So interesting number there. Kind of like all of these, though, to be honest with you.
That's the problem. I always love all of them. But we do so responsibly with our friends from Bet365. As I always say, only bet what you're willing to lose. Pat, which of these 3 bets do you like?
I guess we're not going to get me.
I want to see that hand.
Why is it so small?
There we go.
I sprinkled on the Jeff Skinner over 2.5 shots on goal. I really like that. But my real play tonight, I'm saving up for if, knock on wood, we go down early in the game. The live comeback is where I'm hitting tonight.
Love it.
I like that.
To start a little slow and the numbers get bumped up a little bit, and I have a good feeling about us tonight. So.
Hey, we'll see if we stop the first shot of the game. We did it on Saturday. Didn't stop the second shot of the game, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Rome wasn't built in a day. Zachary, as we finish things off here, toss me a score prediction. Toss me an anytime goal score.
6-0 Oilers win. It's going to be a big one for the Oilers. They need it. They need it, Bordzy.
I need it. My bankroll needs it.
And you know what, man? What the hell? Jeff Skinner, anytime. I love it. Let's see if he can get it tonight. See if he can get back on track here.
Jeff Skinner is +210 to score a goal this evening. Patrick, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go a little bold. Although this will go against what I just said about my bets, I'm going to go 4-0 Edmonton. Hyman to score. I said him last game, but I'm feeling it this time.
I like that.
I was just going to say, as a part of the DFO DFS report that we do, Brock and I, at the end of every episode, we pick a hat trick prediction. So we do a little giveaway there. If you predict a hat trick winner in the comment section down below after our show, you'll win a $25 Nation Gear gift card. If anybody wants to get involved in that, 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time, we go live, so you can check that out.
Great show.
My hat trick pick tonight was actually Zach Hyman. I think he's incredibly due to get back on track here, shooting well below his recent averages. So I can see a big night for Hymes tonight.
I see some people in here. I'm going to say 5-1 Edmonton Oilers. Alvin Pickard allows 1. The offense gets back on track, and by the third period, we're rolling Jeff Skinner in that top 6, and we're going to feel good about it. Southpaw's in. Dry, 2+ goals, +800 earlier today. Mackay and Dry Skinner goal should be +400. I just threw down on a Skinner goal. I couldn't help myself. If I'm betting shots, I got to bet for one of those to go in. You can't want them to just hit the goalie's pads. Number 1 fan says book all 3. RX says great pregame. Let's hope we have some good things to discuss post-game. It's 5:30. It's on Amazon Prime. Make sure you are logged in on your TVs. I logged in right before pregame. Actually, I was already logged in because we are prepared here. I'm sure we're going to get calls from our older parents going, where's the game? Why isn't it on Sportsnet right now? Because it's on Monday and it's on Prime. Big shout out to all our sponsors, Short for the Giant, Short Power Sports Marine, Greta Bar Yeg, Bet365. Big shouts out to Odd Company as well for our Nation beer, Yeah, Nation Beer for game day and every day. I tripped on my own words on the can. Go check them out. There are 2 locations in Edmonton or liquorconnect.com. Find out where they're selling them in local liquor stores. Tonight, we'll be live right here, Oilers Nation YouTube, right after the game. Me, Zach, Patrick, Puff, hopefully breaking down a dominant Edmonton Oilers victory, because I don't think I can do what I did on Saturday again without my head literally exploding. I love you all. Throw down your like. Make sure you are subscribed to the ON YouTube. And good luck out there on the Bet365 Battlegrounds. See you in 3 hours. Peace.